right? And so just to show this quickly, these are my own results. As you can see, basically I've been a chess beginner, and then I improved my rapid elo, okay, from there. But as you can see, I've also been on a chess tilt, right? So I've been to 800, 700, and then lowered it down, okay, to like the lower ends of 700. And from there, I managed to make a jump, and we're going to talk a little bit about this in this video, okay, and to continue level up from there, right? So if you're the beginner who's here, who's actually his elo level is going down, like here, this video is going to be for you. Right, so let's talk about the first action that I want you to do immediately whilst watching this video. Okay, so I want you to go to the app, okay, wherever you go to study chess, okay? It doesn't need to be on chess.com, it can be just wherever. And I want you to change the timer, okay, the normal timer that you have from 10 minutes, I want you to change that to 30 minutes. And let me just quickly tell you why. First of all, and specifically to improve, so not just to play normally, okay, for fun, but specifically to improve, we want to kill the problem of time pressure, okay, which makes you just play like random thoughtless moves, okay, moves that you weren't thinking about them before, okay. We want to solve this problem at least for now, for the time being, when we improve from beginner to intermediate, okay. And so this is the reason, okay, to improve. We want to make our times longer, okay, to just kill all the time pressure we have. This is the first thing. And actually the second thing, and as weird as it may be, okay, but think about it this way. If you're right now on chess and you're on a losing streak, you're likely to actually propel the chances of you losing again to be even higher. So if you're losing on a losing streak right now, it may actually be easier for you to lose and be harder for you to win in the next game that you're playing, especially if it's something that you've done a few minutes ago. Plus, add to that the emotions of frustrations that you have in you. So what we want to do now for the second step is actually to stop playing completely chess. Okay, like absolutely no chess games, even puzzles, like nothing for the next 3 to 4 days. Again, this is because you're probably experiencing some form of a tilt. So if you see like a tilt is when your elo goes extremely down for a while, okay? It's like from here to here. And so what we want is to refresh your mind for the next time that you're playing is going to play immediately after they experience a chess tilt. Compare that to the person who is going to wait a little bit, like for a few days, okay? The person who's going to play right away, you can expect the tilt, okay, to go a lot down. So not just for 736, it could be something like 650, something like this. Whereas the person who just waits, okay, a few days and comes back with a fresh mind, obviously this person is going to have a lot of a higher likelihood, okay, of improving from this chess tilt, okay, and have the chess tilt as much less of a problem. And so this is actually the second thing, okay. We want you to stop playing completely for the next 2 to 3 days. The number doesn't really matter, but just like a short period of time, okay, just a complete break from the game itself, right? So now for the second part of this video, now we're going to specifically talk about how you as a beginner are going to improve on your play specifically. So for the next time that you're now coming into play, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to practice what we're going to talk about here versus computer and bots, okay. And after you practice versus computers, okay, you're going to now do this in live game, so in actual rapid, and you're gonna see the difference. So let's take a look into this example. And so what I want you to do is to take a look into this position and ask yourself, what is the best move for black? Okay, white just took. What is the best move for black in here? And note, okay, the best move in here is not the move that black had made. Alright, so before we get actually to the best move, let me show you the move that black had made. So what black was thinking, this guy is threatening my knight, and so what I want to do is I want to develop the bishop, okay, to threaten his queen, and then I can move the knight normally, right? Now, as you can see, the bar immediately goes into white's favor. And why is this? Because the move g4 is actually a blunder, okay? Because what white can do, if we were white in this position, white is just going to take here, the rook is going to take, and now he's just going to take your knight, right? So he's actually not doing any bad by any means. And indeed, white had found it, have done it in a different way. have done bishop takes, okay? The pawn takes, okay? And now he takes with the rook, and now basically up a piece, right? And so this is something that we need to be aware of and actually to stop completely if you're a chess beginner. And I can reckon if you're a beginner, anywhere from the levels of 1000 and below, and you experience like some form of tilt, like you can see your elo going down, because what you're neglecting is these like minor blunders, okay, with the red question mark, and that is a problem that we need to do to basically fix. But just fixing it won't really help. Okay, what we need to do is we need to also improve the huge accuracy of your games. Okay, so basically, one, to stop the blunders, and I'm gonna show you like how to stop them and improve your accuracy at the same time. And so what we basically do is we ask 5 questions, and you will need to practice it. Okay, because it is quite complicated actually. But this does not just improve the accuracy like of your games, but that also prevents you from blundering, and it's super difficult for chess beginners to counter this, because honestly none of them are doing what you're going to do now. So the first question actually has nothing to do with what we want, but actually with what our opponent wants. What white wants in this example. He's having this huge pawn check. He wants to capture our knight on f6. He doesn't really have any other thing, okay, going on besides this. This is what he really wants. So once we're asking this, okay, now we can actually start thinking about how do we actually stop him from taking the knight. But there's still 4 more questions. Okay, so for the second question that we have, what he wants to capture the knight in here. What are the imbalances in the example that we have? An imbalance, from the word imbalance, okay, it's any advantage or disadvantage that we have in a position. Okay, so for example in here, the fact that white has a huge pawn chain on the king side, that is an imbalance in his favor. Okay, it's an advantage that he has. What is an imbalance that we have in our favor? Okay, it's this pawn in here. Okay, somehow we've managed to put our pawn behind his line, as you can see, and it acts pretty much as a huge thorn in white's area. Okay, the knight, for example, cannot develop here. It's hard to develop to there. Okay, if he wants to develop, he'll have to do it here. Okay, and this pawn is extremely hard to take. This is actually why I think we are in an equal position. It's just that this pawn also exists. And so these are the most visible imbalances that we have in here, okay? The most visible advantages, okay, and disadvantage. An imbalance that we also have in our favor is actually this knight, right? Why is this knight an imbalance in our favor? Because this knight is not locked like our opponent's knight, okay? So it can move to other places, it can move here, for example. And yes, we have a knight which is under pin, but still we have another knight that is already out, okay, that can basically move. And so, for example, it can move to here and start making like problems for our opponent in here, because, well, if it moves here, it can threaten the bishop, okay, and the knight here cannot take it, okay? Just another example for maybe an advantage that we can have. But so far, the main imbalances that we can see is this pawn chain, okay, and the pawn in here that we have. All right, and so for the third question, actually, tactical check. Okay, so basically now we're looking at the board and we're thinking, is there any tactic, okay, that we can actually do to our advantage? And from looking at this, there's not much of a tactic right now that we can do, and that's okay, because the goal of the third question, tactical check, is just to prevent you from missing tactics that you can actually do to win material. Okay, and so the fourth question, checks, captures, and threats. All right, and so for example, what are checks that we can do, captures, and how can we basically make threats? Okay, and so if you look at this, for example, there is the bishop here, the blunder that we have seen that black had made, which is basically a threat on the queen. So the knight basically hops here and he threatens the bishop here. There is another threat that we can do, which is the bishop takes on c3, and these are the main threats and captures that we see. And the fifth question is now for the candidate move that you have. So let's say for a moment that you were thinking in this position as black, okay, I want to put my bishop here and threaten the queen. Is this move a blunder? And you're basically asking, this is the fifth question, and you're going to figure out that yes, this is for a fact a blunder, because well, it just loses a piece, okay? Because, well, we also ask what our opponent wants, so now we know this is the problem. And this is in a way, and obviously you're gonna need to practice it, but this is in a way how we are going to stop blunders, okay, one, but two, we're also going to improve accuracy. So for example, we were thinking about this move. Now we have the fifth question, is it a blunder? And after we take, okay, via whatever way, okay, he's gonna take here, all right? And so we're not gonna do this, we're gonna discard this move, and we're thinking again, what is the move from the imbalances that we have that can basically improve our position? There's this move that we were thinking about, and there's this move, okay? I don't think a lot of you were thinking about this move, but absolutely fine. You don't need to still to see everything. So for example, we had this move, okay? And we're thinking, is this move stopping what our opponent wants? Well, obviously, yes, it stops the pawn from taking here. So yeah, we're gonna do knight to d5. And if black would have done this, he would have been completely fine, actually. In fact, if you're doing it this way, you're using another concept which is called positional understanding that a lot of beginners do not know about. Okay, so for example, how do we create advantages that are not specifically correlated to how much material that we have? If you think about it, like a lot of beginners, what is their main strategy to improve to win at the games of chess right now? It's we want to get into a huge material advantage. Okay, so we want to like capture a piece or whatever else that we can, and then we want to convert it into a winning end game. Okay, but what do you do if your opponent doesn't do it? So basically, so you can imagine like this is the strategy that white has. What is white going to do if you're not going to act like this? What is it going to do if we do not lose any piece in this game? Well, so the strategy that our opponent has, one, does not work because we are not going to lose any major piece. And number two, we have now a weapon, okay, that we can use against him, which is not immediately correlated to just how much material that we have. Because now we know, okay, we can make advantages also based on other things. So for example, now we're also making a threat here. This knight also becomes very strong in here, okay, which is another imbalance that is becoming in our favor. And that is basically how we're going to improve our accuracy at the games of chess. We're basically going to think in a way that most beginners, they're not thinking, maybe because they're not aware of this, but that is a good way to, improve our thinking process in chess. And so if you've basically finished now the 3 days break that we had, okay, that I've told you to do, now what we can do is we can now practice this thought question process against the bots. And why do we want to practice it against bots? We kind of want to make it automatic. So you wouldn't need like to think these 5 questions, okay? It would come to you naturally versus bots. Once we do it versus bots, our accuracy is going to go higher, and we could use it also against actual players. Now, something else in addition to practicing this that we want to do is to also practice hanging pieces puzzles. So basically puzzles, okay, if you go to chess.com, you can do it on chess.com. I think you can do the exact same thing on Lichess, and you go to custom puzzles, okay, you click on it. Alright, so let's now do two puzzles, okay, together, so that you could like immediately start practicing it for real games. Alright, so white had made the move king to g2. Obviously, like you can see from the bar, that this is a mistake, okay? But what I want you to do is to see like the tactic that there is right now, but do not just like try to see the first move. I want you to start seeing the tactic like until the end of the tactic, like the full line. So if you had a chance to look at this, the move that is actually starting the tactic is bishop to c6. Yes, bishop to c6, that is a check on the king and a threat on the rook, right? Not with the queen, but with the bishop, obviously. The king has only one square where it's not an immediate checkmate, okay? And so he has pretty much to move here. And you can obviously like block with the rook on e4, but then you're also still losing a rook, okay? So the king to f1, okay? And after the king moves to f1, okay, now we have hanging queen, so we do not want that. We can either take here, and then, he's gonna take with the queen, okay? And now we just win the rook in here. So this is actually what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the rook here, the king is gonna take, and then the bishop to h1. But obviously, like before that, we take with the queen here, and after this, yes, we're winning. Okay, so bishop b takes c3, okay, and we're kind of winning here. If we move back a lot, actually, okay, and let's say, for example, he still does king to f1, and then we take with the rook. There's another line, for example, where it takes with the queen, but still it comes the exact same thing, right? So let's now move to the second tactic. All right, so in here, in the second tactic, now we had a bishop, okay, right here, right? And so I want you to take a look at this and think still, what are you going to do right here, okay, to win material? It's not a huge material advantage, okay, it's just like +1, okay, but still this +1 is what is going to win you again. And I'm going to show this with the notations first, okay, just so that you could also start thinking about this. If we take with the knight here, the bishop, the only real move that he's going to do is obviously like take with the queen here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a discovered attack, because what we're going to do is pawn to b5. The bishop is going to stare at the queen, okay? And so the queen would have to move to somewhere, okay? The queen could not move to anywhere here, okay? So she'll move like to the far ends, okay? Away from here. And then we could take with the rook on c7. Right, and so this is another tactic that that there is. Okay, so this is actually what happens. Okay, so knight takes on d6, queen takes on d6, and now pawn to b5, queen to f6, rook takes on c7, and now again we are winning. Right, and so now for the end of this video, there are two rules that I want to add to playing chess, okay, and specifically to improve. Okay, so the first one is to not play blitz when trying to improve. The reason that we want to not play blitz anymore is that you wouldn't get used to just playing without thinking beforehand. Okay, and that is actually a problem that we want to deal with right away. And how we do it, we just not play blitz anymore. Okay, so this is the first thing. And the second is play only when you know that you're focused. Okay, and so if you've done like already the break and everything, this is basically like to not play like in extreme late hours or hours that where you know that you're tired. Okay, and why is this? Because we want to repeat as much as possible the thought question process, and thus we do not want to do it obviously when you're tired. Okay, you would not be able to really comprehend this all that deep. Okay, and so this is the second thing. Play only when you know that you're actually focused, right? And so that is it for today's video. If you have any questions, leave them down below, okay? And if you want, you can consider subscribing, okay? And I'll be here next time that, well, you log into chess in order to learn. And remember, a chess tilt, okay, or when you go down, these things are very momentary, meaning that you can actually sit down, okay, precisely here, for example, okay, and actually think, okay, why am I stuck right now? Okay, is it actually because of blunders? Maybe it's actually not blunders, and it's me doing openings really badly. And when you do these types of things, okay, your elo is actually going to jump. The more that you play, okay, it's going to jump like slower, okay, because you're just gonna play versus more skilled players, but you can actually realistically do a jump like this as well. All right, I've done my own jump. Let me just see right here, 736 24th. All right, and so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.